Well, good Wednesday morning, Southeast Texas. A beautiful morning across the area. Lots of clear skies on our Roofing 911 Skycam network. Outside our 12 studios, sponsored by Mid-County Plumbing. Beautiful afternoon coming up. Very, very nice. We started out this morning in the 50s area wide. The wind was blowing and we had wind chills in the 40s across the area. Big change, strongest front of the fall season so far. And a beautiful afternoon coming up. We're expecting lots of sunshine. Low humidity, temperatures getting into the looks like middle 60s coming up this afternoon. Now it's going to be chilly tonight too, but the wind will stay up a little bit. It'll feel colder, but the actual air temperature won't be colder until tomorrow night when we have virtually no wind at all. Remember, when you have wind in the fall and winter at night, when it's dry and chilly, it keeps the air mixed up, so the temperature doesn't bottom out like it should. But Friday morning will be the coldest because we'll have less wind as high pressure at the surface begins to build into the area. Now, as we head into tonight, we're expecting some mid-40s area wide after 50s this morning. So it'll be pretty nippy when you get up, coming up tomorrow morning, but less wind, but a little bit colder on a Friday morning as you see lots of clear skies across all of Southeast Texas this afternoon. Very, very nice. Nice weather coming up indeed, very dry air. Now, as we head toward the weekend, late Saturday into Saturday night, we'll talk about our next chance of rain coming up in just a few minutes. But it is beautiful out there, low humidity, a little bit windy, although the winds haven't been terribly bad. We've had some gust over 20, but we've seen a lot worse than that in the fall and winter behind cold fronts. But very, very nice this afternoon, and I certainly need that light jacket if you're heading out tonight, that's for sure. Across Southeast Texas, as temperatures will be dropping into the 50s this evening, and eventually the 40s for lows. Chilly night coming up nonetheless. All right, local temperatures right now out to our west are already in the lower 60s as well in the Houston area. 63 Conroe, 62 Houston, 61 in Orange. You see lower 60s, a couple of mid 60s here and there, 64, 65 in Kirbyville. So we'll warm up a few more degrees this afternoon under bright sunny skies, but the wind will continue to keep us from getting too terribly warm today. Well below normal, by the way, on these temperatures for highs and lows coming up over the next few days. But at least the weather will remain fairly quiet. That's the good news. And we'll see these numbers dropping tonight, as we said, into the 50s this evening, and then the 40s coming up by tomorrow morning with a little bit of a breeze still out there. All right, lots of clear skies, not only here locally, but the entire state. Notice off to our northeast, that's the storm system that passed to our north yesterday that brought the cold front, which is now into Florida. See the counterclockwise spin, upper level storm system producing a lot of rain still around Memphis. That's what brought the showers and thunderstorms we had scattered here locally late yesterday. And low should continue to move off to the east very slowly, watching some low clouds though east of Oklahoma City, back down to around Texarkana into south central Mississippi. A lot of times in the wintertime we get these back around clouds, wrap around clouds from low pressure, low clouds. We'll keep an eye on these, see if they kind of try to work down the Sabine later today or this evening, but I think most of the area will remain mostly clear. But boy, it is bone dry across the state this afternoon with that cool, dry air in place across Southeast Texas. But notice lots of rain though, nothing too terribly heavy. Northern Mississippi on over toward Atlanta, along and behind the cold front that came through our area last night, giving us the much cooler weather we currently have in place. All right, let's talk about Hurricane Melissa, of course. Made the landfall yesterday in Cuba that caused all the damage in Jamaica, and made it across eastern Cuba this morning. It was a lot weaker than it was yesterday. Winds were 185 yesterday, and as it crossed eastern Cuba, they were about 120, so a lot less. And now it's down to Category 2. That's good news. Good news, because continue to slowly weaken as it moves northeast, and it's just about done with any land masses now. It's off of Cuba, the center right in this area here, moving across the southeast Bahamas. By this afternoon tonight, we'll say goodbye to that because it'll be in the open waters of the Atlantic. No more real land masses to affect. And it should continue to weaken too a little bit more as well, hanging around Cat 1, Cat 2, but that doesn't really matter in the next 6 hours because it'll be in open water out in the open Atlantic moving away. So hopefully the recoveries will continue across portions and be successful across portions of Jamaica over the next several days and weeks to come. And there's the latest track off the coast of Cuba there, Cat 2, and heading out to sea later today and tonight. Otherwise, things are great in the tropics. Water temperatures are cooling off in the Gulf, and we're done even for the eastern Gulf of Mexico. I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay, futurecast. Cool this afternoon, mid-60s. We'll fall into the 50s this evening. Those temperatures. See, there's some of those low clouds I was talking about. Futurecast actually picking that up. I just pointed out around that area of low pressure around Memphis. Some of these low clouds that kind of wrap around. Futurecast trying to bring some of those into the area late this afternoon, this evening. They kind of skirt us. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not going to affect temperatures or anything tonight because we'll still have a little bit of wind and some cold air advection anyway. And then, of course, as we head toward morning, pretty chilly. Yeah, there goes those clouds anyway. 40s, man, cold morning. We're talking lows in the low to mid 40s coming up tomorrow morning, and a pretty cool wind chill too. Now the winds will start coming down. That's good news compared to what we had today. They'll still be up a little bit overnight, but still nothing compared to what we've had today as far as the wind goes. And then the winds tomorrow be up a little bit, and they completely relax tomorrow night as surface high pressure builds in from the north, and that's going to allow temperatures to drop into the low to mid 40s coming up on a Friday morning. And wind gusts this afternoon, well, we're still expecting some gusts to 30 to 32 at times across the area. I've yet to see that. At most areas have stayed around 20 or so, but windy enough out of the northwest. And as we head into tonight, notice the winds beginning to come down. And the humidity, really, really low. You know, with a cold front this strong, you know you're going to have bone dry air behind it, and humidity is right now running in the, I'd say 30 to 40% range. It's going to get drier than that this afternoon. Put this into motion. Look at that dark chocolate color there over Houston on up to Conroe. That is some bone dry. Humidity's in the 20 to 30% range. Very, very dry air across the area. So the burn bans, some of those have been lifted, some have not. The fire danger is still high though because of the dry air and the winds. But there were some areas last night, and that includes most of Orange County, had about 1.5 inches of rain. So I think Orange County would be in pretty good shape, even with the low humidity and wind, because that was a pretty big rain late yesterday and last night. The grounds are pretty saturated, but there was a lot of the area that didn't see a drop of rain. That's where the fire dangers will be high. We didn't see too much rain around Beaumont, but a lot of Hardin County, some of Tyler, some of central, southern, northern, Jasper, Newton County. Saw some pretty good rain yesterday across the air, but of course it doesn't take long to dry out when it's windy as it is, that's for sure. Now these humidity levels that you see here, they're going to continue to be pretty low through Friday. Now we'll start getting we'll talk about this in a moment, we'll start getting a little bit of moisture back coming up on Saturday ahead of another upper level trough that's going to come in with another front. We may have just enough moisture to squeeze out some shower activity coming up on Saturday late into Saturday evening across not only southeast Texas, but the lakes and the coast as well. The farther north you go, you'll have a less chance of rain, by the way, coming up with this system late in the day Saturday. The wildfire danger this afternoon, like I said, there was a lot of the areas that didn't see much rain, but especially Liberty County, Huntsville back to Houston, they didn't see near as much rain as some parts of our part of southeast Texas, but we still have extreme fire danger across the area due to that low humidity I just showed you and the gusty northerly winds this afternoon. The good news about the wind is after today, winds start coming down tonight, be a lot less wind tomorrow, and virtually no wind at all on Friday. So that's very good news concerning the fire danger. So I think we'll get through today okay, and then we'll be in pretty good shape as far as that part of the weather situation goes. So that's good to know. All right, now these are forecasted low temperatures, not for tomorrow morning, but for Friday morning. We're going to be in the 40s tonight, mid to upper 40s, but the coldest morning will be tomorrow night, Friday morning. Some upper 30s will be possible in the lakes, low to mid 40s in the triangle. Kind of a cold start there. Not record lows, but it's still well below normal for this time of the year. And of course, then we'll start rebounding a little bit as we head toward the weekend. All right, let's take a look at some rainfall totals that are possible with this next system we were talking about coming up for late Saturday and Saturday night. These totals in here. Pretty light stuff, virtually nothing in the lakes, less than 1/10 of an inch. And in the triangle, maybe 1/3. Some of the heaviest on the coastline, that's only around 1/2 inch. This would be late Saturday into Saturday night. There'll be no severe weather expected because we'll just be way too stable for that. Could you a light to moderate type rain event? And we'll see if that verifies. Of course, we'll have new model data later this afternoon to look at to see how things still stand for Saturday night into very, very early on Sunday morning. Now your forecast the rest of the day, sunny skies and windy, and we'll have, of course, the humidity very low. Northwest winds 15 to 30, so very windy. Highs today, low 60s, lakes, mid 60s in the triangle. So started out in the 50s, warming to the 60s, but that wind is going to keep us from reaching 70. We're not going to hit 70 this afternoon. That's not going to happen. And then, of course, as we head into tonight, we'll have clear skies. You would think, well, temperatures would be the coldest tonight. Not quite. We'll go back to that graphic. There we go. Clear and cold, no rain expected overnight. But notice the winds are still up a little bit overnight. North winds 5 to 12. That's enough to keep the atmosphere mixed up. It'll be cold enough with that little breeze. Low 40s lakes, mid 40s in the triangle. North winds 5 to 15. They'll start getting a little bit less than that as we head toward daybreak. So a chilly night in store, that's for sure. All right, 7-day forecast. Today, tomorrow, Friday, beautiful weather. Lots of sun. Mid 40s tonight, 68 tomorrow, 43. That's the cold morning, Friday morning. We do get back into the 70s. I wanted to point that out. 71 on Friday. Saturday, 73. So we get into the mid 70s. It starts warming up nicely over the weekend for highs. But I want you to notice those lows stay in the 40s, because as this upper level disturbance comes in Saturday evening, that'll usher in another weak front, keeping those nighttime temperatures pretty cool. 46 tonight, 43 tomorrow night, 48 Saturday morning, 51 Sunday, then it's back to the upper 40s again for Monday morning for lows. But boy, those afternoon highs, beautiful, mid 70s, lots of sun early next week, and still some fairly dry air. Let's check our phone real quick, see if we've had anyone text in. You can text us at 409-749-9302 with your weather questions. Don't see any questions yet, but as you can see, a beautiful forecast coming up over the next 7 days, except for late Saturday and Saturday night. We could see a little bit of rainfall there. Of course, we'll update that again later today. That coverage could go up or it could go down. Models are kind of split on that right now on Saturday's event. So, of course, we'll have another update coming up later today, and then the latest coming up at 4 on the beat.